when teams are focusing on quality from the start, then it's so much easier to ensure it later on when delivering end product to the customer, and vice versa. Uh, One no quality in mind, one starting project without this
Yeah.
quality mindset, it often goes wrong.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Software Engineering Tales.
Hello.
It's really, really cool that that we could finally manage to, do this recording. And as a first thing, I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself to our audience, tell a little bit about your experience and what you do right now.
Right. Hello. First of all, I'm really happy to be here and chatting with you. It wasn't the smooth ride booking this meeting, but finally we're here talking, so it's really nice. Um, well, my name is Maria. I'm working as a
Yeah.
software consultant in different fields, but mainly within quality engineering and things around it. Um, I live in Sweden, in Stockholm, and I like different things, so from skiing, snowboarding to planting small things in my garden.
If you could go a little bit into the detail, what is your current
Mhm,
role, what you are helping, software development teams with, basically.
mhm. I've been working with so many projects with different industries, and I try to enjoy every project and extract something new for me, because there is no common problem, or n- every project is so unique that it's always different challenges, it's always different problems, it's always different customer needs that you need to first understand and then fix somehow. That Well, I've been working with everything from most common web development to embedded projects, like super cool stuff with uh, drills and screwdrivers. Software is everywhere right now, and
Yeah.
even a freezer in your kitchen, it has some software that controls how it works. So yes, there is a lot of possibilities how and where to work, and it's super cool that we have this chance today.
So the main focus is quality
Yes,
assurance,
I'm
right?
working with yes, right. I'm working with quality engineering, and it includes all things from um, fixing quality assuring process to making sure that there is all necessary automation in place, CI/CD, and so on, security checks, accessibility, all these things. They are. I'm working with them. I wouldn't call myself like automation engineer, but there is a lot of focus on automation, because there is a lot of things we can automate right now. But still, it's kind of hard to cover everything with automation, and it does make sense in most of the cases. Um,
One question that I had in
mhm,
mind, because you have experience with so many, different kinds of products, kinds of teams. Are there some similar patterns that you can identify that lead to higher quality in the software they are building, and maybe also some anti patterns like this is really bad and this usually leads to some issues down the road.
yes. Um, One example I might think of is uh, thinking about quality from the start. And the opposite is like shifting this quality mindset to the very end of software development lifecycle, when teams are focusing on quality from the start, then it's so much easier to ensure it later on when delivering end product to the customer, and vice versa. Uh, One no quality in mind, one starting project without this
Yeah.
quality mindset, it often goes wrong.
Yeah. So you said, have this quality mindset from the beginning, but what does it mean really?
What does it mean? Uh, First of all, it means that quality is embedded in every sub process that's involved in software engineering. There are so many different parts. Like, first, creating requirements and gathering them and translating them into some kind of um, flows and processes that need to be implemented. And then on top of that, we try to create a visual representation of what should be implemented. It might be um, on the more technical side, it's architecture, design, and so on. On the visual side, it's like pictures of UX design, what that needs to be implemented, and so on. And then later on, the development process itself. So, as you see, there are so many steps before the hands-on development process that can go really, really wrong. And if
Yeah.
testers or quality assurance engineers appear only in the end of this chain, then they might miss out on so many details. And this is my primary focus right now, to be present in all of these steps, and not only automate what seems to be right, but instead focus on
Yeah.
understanding what our customers need. What do they want from our project? This is the hardest part, actually. It takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
to to understand what we need to do. And if we do it right from the first time, then it's going to give us a lot of return of investments, because we don't will need to fix it afterwards. And there are actually many studies about how time of uh, potential bug or issue, uh, when it is discovered, how it affects how much it will cost to fix. Usually later, the more money.
I talked about it in one of the very earliest episodes of
Mhm.
this podcast, where I had some product manager, and there was a study which stipulated that, you know, I think something like 60% of defects in software are coming from requirements gone wrong, you know, that we didn't get the requirements the right way. And if you catch the potential bug or
Mhm.
error in your software at this phase, it's 100 times cheaper than, when you catch it on production. So you want to be sure that you get it right.
Yeah, and this is exactly what my experience tells me, because uh, it's really hard to formulate, to uh, get exact requirements from the customers from the start, because in most of the cases they're so vague that developers just suggest 10 different options how to implement it, so on. and then every option uh, could lead to different ways of implementing other features as well, and so on. And so, yeah, it, it, it is true. It is true. As most of the bugs could actually be prevented by creating a robust process, not only quality assurance process, but software development process as a whole, as a from the start to very end of development cycle.
Yeah, and let's say, I think it will be very different, very in like, huge company which is starting a new project or a new team or whatever, and in like a small startup, because small startups need to obviously move fast and deliver something as fast as possible. But when is the right time? I know that you said, have this quality mindset from the beginning, but I think the space is really limited in like startups, right? Do you have some experience with that? And did you help with some startups to, then get into the proper quality like control and
Yes, I've
scale
been
up?
working both for small startups that got really big in a short time, and in big corporate companies with
Yeah,
tens of thousands of employees, and the process of quality assurance looks totally different, because when you need to deliver quickly a lot, and
yeah,
um, you need to attract customers as quick as possible, you don't have time to really think about, oh, how we want to chase this bug or that one. Usually mm, there is no established process in startups, because there is simply no room for that. And most of the efforts, they focus on manual testing, because we need to deliver a lot of features in a short time span, and then they probably won't get automated in the same extent as in big projects, where there is already established software development process and so on. It's quite stressful, I would say, for everyone, because you know, yeah, sometimes bugs appear in production, and then everyone is just, oh my god, how are we going to do about it? And that's also part of quality culture. Well, how we react on these issues and the incidents. Yeah, in some companies it's just go and fix it, no matter how, just do it. In some companies, it's more about analyzing why it had happened, why, how we can prevent it, and so on. And in companies where people think about prevention and um, defect analysis process, they tend to have better quality.
I think like blameless, postmortems are
Mm,
very useful when there is some incident to have like blameless,
really.
postmortem and prevent it in the
Mm,
future.
yeah. In general, quality is a hot topic right now, because with a lot of vibe coding and AI coding. Um, well, many people in our industry think that, okay, it's going to be a lot of work for us, and because so many projects that just went so wrong, because of such attitude to coding. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting
Yeah.
in the future, and I'm looking forward
And
how it's going to unfold.
how do you see the AI generated code basically? Like, is it going to be an opportunity in the next 2 3 years? Is it going to be a problem? How should you treat it, like from quality perspective?
I think both. It's both an opportunity and a problem or potential problem. If we well, Gen AI tools, they're just tools, and it depends a lot on how we use them. So if we use them as assistants and don't switch off our own brain and our mm, yeah critical thinking capabilities, then it's going to help us be better, be quicker. But if we just let AI that doesn't understand physical world, our emotions, and doesn't have human understanding, then it might go really wrong.
Yeah, but one thing that I really liked, I heard it or read it basically on LinkedIn. I think I really liked it, was to treat any like AI generated code as external contributor. So basically, prepare new branch, do the review of every line of the code, and just treat it as external contributor, and then you are fine because you have the proper quality mindset, I would say.
Yeah, because it doesn't
Yeah,
have enough context. How well, even if you give it access to your code base, you don't give it access to your physical, I mean, live actions that you experience while preparing to code. And that's what's important, the context. Because the
yeah,
code, it's the deliverable. It's like the end uh, product that we deliver. But how much time do you usually sit and just code as a developer?
yeah.
It's far from 100%, isn't it?
One thing that I'm interested in is basically a little bit about your career journey, how you got into this, line of work.
That's actually interesting because I was I was studying mathematical linguistics, which is basically LLMs and the
Yeah,
algorithms about language processing. And then back at the time, it was like 15 years ago, even more. I don't remember. Yeah, about. It was so far from practical application that I was thinking, okay, what's the closest thing that might be useful? Um, and then I got into just manual testing first, and then I switched to automation, and then I switched to more um, quality leadership roles and consulting because it felt like a natural step to improve uh, in my career and so on. And throughout all these years, I was still interested a lot in both in languages and maths, and it was kind of on the side, and then boom, and everyone
yeah,
starts talking about it. And I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
it was exactly what I was studying. Um,
yeah. And now we are in the middle of it. Yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, that's
And now, of
that's
course,
cool.
it's not the primary focus of my work. I mean, AI is not like I don't work with it every day, but I'm still interested in it. I'm curious about it. I try to read on it and give some presentations to keep up with the latest trends and at least try something hands on and um, speak about it.
Yeah, and I know that you do a lot like public speaking and conferences and events. Uh, how did you get into that? What was the
Mm.
impulse first time to just do something like that and share the knowledge?
First, I started teaching students. Well, as I live in Sweden, here we have some kind of practical schools that give you education. It's not a higher education still, but it's something. Is like college degree, but with
Yeah,
hands-on skills. And so I was teaching at one of the schools and the students, and then I got to some conferences as well as a just as an attendee, and we're just been networking with other people, and they were like, "Oh, you need to get on stage and like speak about it, about whatever we just chatted." And presented to broader audience. And this way, I started speaking on smaller events, and then I also uh, met some amazing people who helped me to be better at speaking. And you know, yeah, it, from the start, it's hard to find a topic to speak about because everyone thinks, oh, there are so many resources on the same topic. Everyone is
yeah,
just bored, but everyone has unique perspective. We have unique experiences that no one can share, and that's why I started speaking, sharing my experiences, and it just gets better each time. And I think it's really fun because it gives me so many connections, and it's so good for networking. Now I have friends all over the world, and I just enjoy it, and it gives me a lot of
yeah. I
energy.
think it's really important to foster these connections, and I think it's like a safety net to have these networks of people, and one thing leads to another, and that leads to another. So yeah, and since you were talking about like unique perspectives, one question that I ask every guest on this podcast is, tell me about one time that you really messed up and what you learned from that.
I really messed up. Okay. I think it was when I was trying to test a battery for a tool, and it went completely wrong because I didn't have enough insights into hardware engineering and specifics of how batteries work, and they got super overheated while I was trying to do my embedded tests. And it got almost, yeah, they got almost burnt. um,
Okay.
yeah,
I was
it was
expecting
like
some explosion. Okay.
software and physical incident. um, yeah, but it was so good to strengthen my communication skills and giving me power to speak about uh, topics that I didn't dare speaking before that incident. So now
Yeah.
I after that incident, I ask so many more questions before doing anything, even if they seem stupid and uh,
Yeah.
really dumb. But I have to because I know there are so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah. And actually this is the recurring topic throughout episodes of this podcast. Everyone is suggesting ask that stupid question because you never know what you can uncover, and usually there is 10 more people in the room wanting to ask the same stupid question, but no one dares, and then there is misunderstanding. So yeah,
Yes. And
ask that question.
actually, that's one of the advantages of Gen AI because sometimes it's easier to ask this dumb question AI and at least get some ideas about the direction where to go, and then maybe ask a question that seems to be smarter, and just come to your colleague and communicate about it, and then
Yeah.
yeah, fine.
But aren't you worried like about some hallucination, in the wrong time and getting some like really bad,
Yeah,
answers?
yes, sure. And that's why it's it has both pros and cons, but at least to start a conversation, to get the starting point, to get the inspiration where to go. But
Yeah.
again, if you're not an expert in, well, many many people say right now that okay, if you're an expert in a field and you ask Gen AI about something, you will spot how bad it is directly. And if you don't have a clue about the subject, it seems like, oh, it's written so well, it must be true, right? So
Yeah.
we need to find the middle ground somewhere. So if you're not an expert and you don't dare asking people who know more about this topic, maybe just start chatting with Gen AI and get some idea about what about most common topics and so on, um, and then chat with an expert. Then you save time from the expert and ask targeted questions, and you get educated about some things if you know that the answers might not be that um yeah, that sharp. So we must
Yeah.
be mindful about that.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So just to summarize a little bit, one last question. If someone who is watching us or listening to us right now should take just one idea, one thought from the whole today's podcast episode, what it should be the most important thing to take home with you.
Don't be afraid to learn new things, even if they seem to be unapplicable, non useful, and really strange right now. But you never know when exactly this knowledge will help you resolve a problem later on. Just learn new things,
Yeah,
stay curious, ask questions, and just stay human.
I kind of sense some story behind that idea. Is there one about some strange knowledge that helped you down the road?
Strange knowledge. Yes, it was kind of my university story, because I was thinking, oh my god, what am I studying? It's going to be never, like, it's so stupid to learn things that I know they will never be super uh, applicable to anything meaningful. But then, where today's situation and everyone talks about
Yeah.
LLMs. When I was a child, I was super interested in hardware and, connecting things, doing my own stereo system and audio, um, and so on. And then, hello, I'm at Spotify working with music and doing exactly these things. Or, yeah, I'm working with embedded software, working with hardware, even though I'm not an embedded hardware engineer. It still gives me a lot of
Yeah,
insights, even though I was very young when I was doing that.
that makes complete sense. Thank you for a great time on software engineering tales, and I guess see you around.
Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure coming to your podcast, and I hope it will be uh, evolving into something really helpful and useful for the software community.